Hello, my name is Debbie Swallow. In this video, I'd like to share with you the 7 main challenges that multicultural global teams face that prevents them from becoming high-performing and what you can do about this. I've worked in over 40 countries in the last 20 years, providing intercultural communication, training and consultancy to many organizations around the world. So if you want to create high-performing global teams or have a workforce that gels better potential, then you've come to the right place. In business, when things go wrong in the workplace, and they frequently do, people look for business solutions to overcome them, and rarely do we think it can be a cultural problem. Sometimes it feels as though the people back at HQ with their objectives and deadlines have no idea what it's like to manage people who are not only on a different time zone, but who react differently from what you are expecting. Culture impacts the way we do things around here. It influences how we think, feel, and behave. Whatever we do in the world, we have to achieve this through people. And in global companies, it's down to you to manage and balance the cultural values of ethnicity and the cultural values of a global corporate just to get things done. And that takes a new skill, which I'd like to share with you. Turning cultural diversity to an advantage is a challenge, but not impossible, especially when you become aware of the 7 major obstacles and challenges facing your team and learn how to identify them and tackle them before they set your project back. So let's turn our attention to the 7 challenges. The first challenge is about communicating virtually. The trouble with communicating virtually is we have to understand that we all communicate differently in the first place. Communication is culturally bound. With differing communication styles, people find it difficult to speak up, get heard, or express their opinion in a normal face-to-face situation. But virtual communication compounds the problems. The following is what a typical scenario could look like. People from the United States tend to be animated, outgoing. They use facial expressions and considerable eye contact. They are uncomfortable with silences, and so people from the States, an overriding value is to speak up and voice opinions, and which they do so readily. So virtual communication isn't a problem to them. Communication in the Arab culture is subtle, indirect, and non-verbal. Arabs love to use terms and phrases that have double meanings and then descend from the general to the specific. They prefer to start a conversation with small talk, go around and around an issue, call upon proverbs and poetic expressions, and speak with their face, eyes, and hands. In virtual meetings, many from Western cultures feel that Arabs talk a lot but say nothing. Arabs, on the other hand, find that they feel that they haven't been listened to in any virtual meeting. So how can you, as the project manager, help? Well, first, you need to understand the difference between straight talking and indirect communication and know your own style and how it is received. When a direct manager listens to an indirect employee, he may think the person is taking a long time to get to the point or even being deliberately awkward and obscure. The opposite is true for indirect communicators who see straight talking as rude and aggressive. Direct communicators are driven by a strong sense of now, while indirect communicators allow for a strong sense of saving face and embarrassment. As a project manager, you need to identify the communication styles within your team and adjust how your virtual team meetings roll out. My advice here is to understand that a lot of confusion occurs when you lack awareness of your own communication style and project it on others, assuming that what someone means is what you would mean. Silence may mean acquiescence to you, but it means disagreement to others. Also, remember to schedule virtual meetings at different times so that it's not always one person who has to get up early or stay up late. The second challenge is about time. The value we put on time is culturally bound. In Western business, managers want to ensure enough time is allocated to correct actions, which requires a set of skills such as planning, decision-making, delegating, scheduling, and goal setting. Time is seen as a commodity that, if wasted, will incur penalties along the line. However, different cultures view time in different ways. To some, it's an infinite resource to build relationship and watch God's plans unfold. To others, time is money, and it's a precious commodity. The importance you, as a project manager, put on managing your project on time is going to be very stressful if you don't understand that Western cultures have short-term orientations compared to other cultures. The third challenge is about managing. How people view their boss is culturally bound and has a lot to do with whether you come from a culture of hierarchy or equality. I come from the UK and thought our culture was pretty much an egalitarian one. That was until I started working in Finland, which is hugely egalitarian. In societies that are more egalitarian, people like and need to be treated as equals in order to perform well. Employees tend to be assigned a task which they will go away and perform using their own initiative. However, in most hierarchical countries, the boss is the boss. He or she is the authority figure. Employees expect authority figures to manage and supervise them and instruct them in what to do. Their expectation is to be micromanaged. As a global manager, expect that some of your reports will expect you to stay close to them and guide them, much like a father or a mother figure. If you don't do that, they may well think they have offended or disappointed you and not perform well. In their culture, bosses don't keep their distance. They're very hands-on. My advice is that it's important to recognize that you can't expect someone to work on their own initiative if they aren't used to it. They just don't know how. You will need to give a lot of direction, much more than you might have been accustomed to. Alternatively, in cultures where there is little power distance, people hate starting the day with a team conference call with lots of details about how work will be scheduled over the next few days. People in these cultures expect to work unsupervised and share with their boss if things aren't going to plan. Dissension and disagreement, speaking up and speaking out are allowed and expected. We've covered 3 of the 7 main challenges that prevent global teams from performing well and seen how virtual communication, time and management perceptions are culturally bound to expectations. When expectations aren't met, we suffer disappointment, anguish, stress, or even anger. As a global project manager, you have to manage and interact with people from other cultures. And if you want to do so successfully, you need to understand them, their approaches and their attitudes. You need to see things their way, get into their way of thinking and understand their specific challenges. Understanding how others think, feel and behave is the greatest gift you can give yourself when working internationally, which means developing intercultural intelligence. And I would love to help you do that. Subscribe to my email list by clicking on the link below, and I will send you the tips on overcoming the next 4 global team challenges. From there, you can add your name to my email list, and I will immediately begin to provide you with valuable tidbits of useful information, short, insightful videos, and articles to drive your success. It's that simple. If my list isn't to your liking, you can unsubscribe at any time and we can still remain friends. So click on the link below, and I look forward to speaking with you on the inside where I keep all my most valuable and profitable information.